Imagine you wake up, the clock shows 6 a.m., but there's not a single car horn, no phone ringing, only absolute silence. You rush out to the street, seeing 1.2 million cars in New York standing still, traffic lights blinking aimlessly, and 99.9% of residents no longer exist. Welcome to Earth on May 2nd, 2025, where 8,118,000 people have just been erased in 0.0001 seconds. No asteroids, no viruses, just a cosmic snap that makes humanity vanish like stardust. Just after 168 hours, 100% of the global power grid collapses, from Moscow to Mumbai. 440. Nuclear power plants, supplying 10% of the world's energy, automatically activate scram mode, shutting down reactors in 30 seconds. But here's the problem. Cooling systems need 1 million liters of water per hour. When water tanks run dry after 7 to 10 days, 50 reactors in the US, Japan, and Ukraine risk melting down, releasing 100,000 curies of radiation, equivalent to 10 Chernobyls. Twist. Some highly automated reactors in France keep running for 2 more weeks, as if taunting fate. 1.5 billion dogs, cats, and birds worldwide, once pampered, now face a harsh reality. 80% of pet dogs, poodles, pugs, die within 30 days because they can't hunt mice, according to National Geographic research. Cats, they form packs, seize 70% of abandoned supermarkets, hunt birds, and survive like kings. But 99% of goldfish in 10 million aquariums turn to dried husks after 72 hours due to tanks losing oxygen. Twist. In Alaska, 100,000 sled dogs escape, forming a new wolf pack ready to dominate the ice. In just 180 days, 3 billion young trees and weeds invade 90% of global streets from Hanoi to Houston. Tree roots, with a pressure of 10 MPa, crack 50% of London's concrete sidewalks, according to Nature Research. In Tokyo, vines cover 70% of skyscrapers in 4 months, turning Shinjuku into a tropical jungle. Twist. 1 million tons of food in cold storage spoil, creating a massive methane cloud, making New York's sky glow purple like a sci-fi movie. No factories, no cars, global CO2 of 420 ppm drops to 280 ppm after 20 years, according to NOAA simulations. Earth's temperature falls 0.8 degrees C, causing 30% of Arctic ice to reform, per IPCC. Coral reefs, once 50% depleted, recover 40% at the Great Barrier Reef. Twist. 1 billion tons of dust from abandoned factories spark a global dust storm, blanketing the Sahara sky, turning the desert green with grass, unexpectedly. 80% of skyscrapers in New York, Dubai collapse, steel rusted away in 70 years. 95% of glass shattered due to 30°C day-night thermal swings. Sea levels rise 1 meter, submerging 60% of Miami, Bangkok, per NASA. In London, 90% of streets turn into dense forests, while Dubai's sand dunes swallow 70% of Burj Khalifa at 8 meters per year. Twist. In Chernobyl, 10,000 pine trees grow through reactor number 4, turning the exclusion zone into a nature park. Will the Giza pyramids still stand after 10,000 years of weathering? Plastic, the eternal material, is it truly immortal? And after 1 million years, a new species emerges, but it isn't created by Earth? What if universe will guide you through each milestone, from urban jungles to human fossils and beyond? Don't look away, because the final outcome will leave you stunned. Hit subscribe, comment which species will rule Earth in 1 million years, and let's explore the post-human era together. Earth without humans. A new era begins on May 2nd, 2025. 8,118,000 people vanish in 0.0001 seconds, leaving no bodies, no traces of war or disease, only 3% of Earth's surface as cities, 38% farmland, 31% forests, and 28% oceans waiting to reshape. No one is left to press the button to operate 440 nuclear reactors, drive 1.4 billion cars, or care for 1.5 billion pets. Earth, the green planet once dominated by humans, now enters a new era, the post-human era. Just after 20 years, global CO2 of 420 ppm drops sharply, forests rise and cities turn into swamps. But that's just the beginning. Let's explore Earth's 1 million-year journey, from when New York becomes a forest to when the Giza pyramids are mere sandhills, and a cosmic secret leaves you stunned at the end of the road. Milestone 1, 20 years, urban jungles and crystal clear skies. 2 decades after humans vanish, Earth has transformed unrecognizably. 90% of global cities, from Hanoi to Houston, are now secondary forests, with 3 billion young trees piercing through sidewalks and buildings, according to Nature Research. Tree roots, exerting 10 MPa of pressure, have cracked 70% of London's concrete, turning streets into lush meadows. In Tokyo, 80% of skyscrapers are draped in vines, transforming Shinjuku into a wild tropical jungle, as if Earth is cosplaying The Last of Us. Ecosystems explode with dizzying speed. 1.2 million deer roam New York suburbs, per Wildlife Conservation Society estimates, while 50,000 gray wolves hunt in central Berlin, prowling roads once bustling. 95% of pet dogs have gone extinct, but 200 million feral cats with razor-sharp hunting instincts form packs seizing 60% of abandoned supermarkets in Paris and Sao Paulo. Oceans revive too. 40% of the Great Barrier Reef's corals reform, and 10,000 humpback whales return to the Pacific, per WWF. Human infrastructure crumbles rapidly. 100% of the global power grid collapsed in the first year, leaving 440 nuclear power plants cold in safe mode with no major leaks, per IAEA. But 80% of water pipes in Los Angeles and Mumbai have burst, flooding downtowns with 1 million cubic meters of water daily. 70% of bridges in San Francisco and Lisbon shake and partially collapse due to lack of maintenance, per ASCE. 1.4 billion cars rust, tires flat, glass shattered, becoming nesting sites for 500 million birds worldwide. Earth's climate cools noticeably. CO2 of 420 ppm drops to 300 ppm, akin to the Holocene, thanks to 4 billion trees absorbing 10 GTC annually, per NOAA. Global temperature falls 0.8 degrees, causing 30% of Arctic ice to reform, per IPCC. Beijing's sky, once choked with an AQI of 200, is now crystal clear, with 50 kilometers visibility. Rainfall rises 20% in the Amazon, turning plains into verdant swamps. Geology begins erasing human traces. 50% of steel in humid areas like Bangkok rusts completely, at an oxidation rate of 0.1 ml/year. NACE. Concrete cracks widely, with 60% of Dubai's buildings swallowed by desert sand moving 8 meters a year, per Geophysical Research Letters. Tree roots and water erosion turned 30% of California's highways into dust. In Chernobyl, 10,000 pine trees grow through reactor number 4, turning the radioactive exclusion zone into a pristine forest, where 500 brown bears roam, as if Earth is declaring, "Thanks, humanity, I've got this." Milestone 2, 100 years, urban swamps and desert sands. After a century, Earth has nearly erased human urban traces. 80% of skyscrapers worldwide, from New York to Dubai, have collapsed, with 95% of steel rusted into red dust at an oxidation rate of 0.2 mm/year in temperate zones, NACE. Toughened glass, once 90% of building facades, shatters due to 30 degrees day-night thermal swings, creating 1 billion tons of glittering shards on grasslands. 60% of coastal cities like Miami, Bangkok, and Rotterdam are submerged by a 1-meter sea level rise, per NASA, turning them into brackish swamps. Ecosystems reach a new equilibrium. 50 million deer and 200,000 tigers dominate former urban forests, from Moscow to Delhi, per IUCN. 1 billion birds nest in skyscraper ruins, turning London into a colossal bird forest. 70% of feral cats evolve into a hybrid species, 20% larger, hunting more efficiently, per evolutionary biology. Oceans dazzle, 60% of global coral reefs recover, and 50,000 blue whales return, claiming 80% of North Atlantic waters, per WWF. Infrastructure is nearly gone. 90% of streets in Paris and Hanoi are covered by forests and grasslands, with only stone foundations exposed under 0.5 meters of soil at a sedimentation rate of 0.5 m/year. Geology. 70% of major bridges like Golden Gate and Sydney Harbor collapse fully, with 1 million tons of steel merging into the soil. The Giza pyramids, 146 meters tall, erode by 10 meters due to wind erosion at 0.1 mph per Journal of Archaeological Science, but remain the only easily recognizable human relic. 1 billion tons of plastic, once deemed eternal, begin micro-degradation, buried under 2 meters of soil in floodplains. Earth's climate is cooler than ever. CO2 drops to 250 ppm, the lowest in 12,000 years, thanks to 5 billion trees absorbing 15 GTC annually per global biogeochemical cycles. Global temperature falls 1.5 degrees, causing 50% of Greenland's ice to reform, per IPCC. Rainfall rises 30% in Africa, turning 20% of the Sahara into grasslands, a phenomenon unseen since the Holocene per science advances. Geology accelerates erasure. 80% of concrete in tropical regions like Bangkok degrades due to acid rain and tree roots breaking structures. 70% of small structures, houses, roads, are covered by erosion and sediment at a rate of 1 mph a year in floodplains. Geology. In Dubai, desert sands swallow 90% of Burj Khalifa, leaving a 300-meter sandhill, as if humanity never set foot there. In Las Vegas, 1 million cacti grow over the Bellagio Casino, turning the City of Sin into a desert oasis where 10,000 desert foxes gather, hosting a party on rusted roulette tables.